The Model 3 is selling your product or service in Canada. First of all, please let me introduce myself. My name is Victor Escobar. I'm a senior software developer at Diversified Energy Supply. This is an American company that sells and deals with oil and gas. I have more than 12 years of experience in software development. And as well, I have more than 4 years of experience as an entrepreneur here in Canada, and most precisely in Montreal, Quebec. Why I am bringing this up? Because as I will show you in this presentation, Quebec is pretty particular in his law and also in his way to handle things. And maybe that will be important for you to have in mind at the moment of bringing your business or your service here in Canada. I have a master's degree in software engineering and computing from La Universidad Nacional de Colombia. I did my master's degree final research using agile methodologies, trying to measure how small, medium companies in Colombia from the tech subject were trying to use agile methodologies. And I have been living here in Canada for the past 7 years. Before beginning, I want to mention 2 things. As I mentioned, there is one poll that I want you guys to please answer with me. And the idea of this poll is to gather some information from your business. Please try to be really honest at the moment of answering the questions. They are only 5. And if you have any question during all the session, just raise your hand and let me know, and we can go, or you can interrupt me and we can go with the question. The second one, that is an important one, is to let you know that all the content of this presentation is provided to you for educational purposes only. So even though all the information provided in this presentation has been gathered from official links from the Canadian government, and it has been revised by professionals in each field, it's important to clarify that we only provide as educational purposes. As you know, each company or person is different, and maybe different rules will apply to you or to your company. So if you need a more personalized guide, please contact a lawyer or an accountant for this matter. So let's begin with the poll. You can use the link that I pasted on the chat. I will put it again in case somebody joined the call after I put it and they can see it. It's on the chat, and here the question is, please select the option that describes your principal business activity. So let's get into a moment and let's everybody to answer the question. It's pretty important if everybody on the call can participate. That will give us a better understanding of all the content that we will provide. Great. So let's give a bit more. Okay, let's go to the second question. And the second question in the poll is about how long have been your company trying to get into the Canadian market. So if you are starting the process, if you have less than a year, if it's between 1 or 2 years, or more time than that. Okay, so almost everybody is starting the process. That is good to know. So let me save the results of the question and we can continue with the next one. Okay, the third question is, have you participated in any event or activity with Canadian companies in Colombia? Okay, let's wait a little bit more. Okay, let me save these results and we are going to go to the next slide. That is the fourth one. We are almost done with the poll. And it's, have you traveled to Canada to participate in any convention or event related to your business activity? Okay. Let's have. Okay. Let me save these results. It seems that somebody has the mic open. Do you have any question? Okay. And finally, what are the languages with which your customer service department communicates with a client or a prospect client? In here, we have the second option, that it's Spanish and English 50%. The 50% obviously is for the English part. Okay. Right. So let's give it a moment. Perfect. So let me save the results of the poll and we are done. So during the presentation, I will explain why this poll it's important and what can we do with this information. But let's for now begin with the main theory of the session. So the first thing that we are going to do is learning the objectives and benefits of this session. We have 4 different learning objectives, and these are, the first one is define your operation strategy. During this theory session, we will check some concepts about how to define the strategy for selling your product or service here in Canada. As well, the second one, it will be what are some of the implications, what are some of the benefits that the FTA between Colombia and Canada brings to the table for Colombian companies. The FTA is the Free Trade Agreement. This was an agreement that was signed in 2011, and we will see it in more detail during the presentation. The third objective of the session will be an accounting orientation about services exportation. This module will be on Thursday. As I mentioned, today's session will be 1 hour, 1 hour 15. And on Thursday, we will have a 2-hour section. This will be the first hour will be a Colombian accountant. they will explain to us everything related to exports to Canada and about services. And in the second part of Thursday section, we will have the legal orientation about how to negotiate and close deals with Canadian clients from Colombia or inside Canada. Now I will show what is the agenda for this session and the points of discussion. So the main points of discussion for today will be how to define your sales strategy and delivery strategy. That will be what will be your operations strategy if you are trying to sell your product using a sales representative or online marketing, e-commerce. What are you using for trying to make that product to be shown? Also, the development strategy. So it's define what is your support or what is the support that you will provide to your product or service once you have established a relationship with a client. In this, is important to mention, for example, if you have a privacy policy in your website, is this privacy policy accessible for your clients? Are your clients going to find that information easily in terms of where it's located in your website and the language that they use? And the same for the terms and conditions of your service in the case that you are selling as your product in an e-commerce. And here there is a pretty important point, and that's why I brought at the beginning and I mentioned Quebec, because here the multilingual support is important. In Canada, most directly to Quebec, there is something called the Charter of the French language. And Quebec, it's a province that is pretty proud of his language and heritage, and they need, or they seem to need, everything to be on French. So I will show you what are the implications of that in the next slides, but it's something important that I wanted to mention to you. The second point of discussion will be the FTA, as I mentioned before, between Colombia and Canada. In here, we will see 3 chapters. Chapter 9, that is related to services. Chapter 12, that is related to traveling, business traveling. And Chapter 15, that mentions, or it's related to e-commerce. So that is the section that we will see about the FTA. And then we will define the benefits about incorporating in Canada. What are the ways that you can get incorporated here? There are 2 ways. Which are these 2 ways? What are the difference and what are the implications of being incorporated? And in this actual moment, for example, with COVID, what the corporations in Canada got as help from the government, just wanting to show you the support that the Canadian government is providing to Canadian companies in here. And finally, we will see how sales taxes operate in Canada. So as you know, Canada is divided in 10 different provinces, and each one has a different tax, sales tax. So we will see that, and we will see some examples of, for example, if you are in one province, how to charge a job in another province, or if you are here in Canada and you sell your product to another country, how the taxes, the sales taxes is handled in here. So let's begin, and we will begin with the how to define your sales strategy. And in here, we have 4 different options that we want to show to you. This may be like something that you knew before, but based on the answers that we got in the poll, and that was one of the main objectives of the poll, is to show you that maybe there are some companies that are in this in this workshop that can maybe assist to a commercial event, but they didn't know that there were some commercial events in Colombia, held in Colombia, or the same thing for some government sponsor campaigns. So the idea is to show you each one of them. As I mentioned, the first one is assist to commercial events. These events are hosted in both countries, in Canada and Colombia, and there are multiple events during each year. It depends on the field that you are, but you can find events that are related to IT, to video games, to VR, AR. There are plenty of events that you can assist in Colombia or in Canada, and that is one of option that you can check. The second one is the government-sponsored campaigns. So, for example, the Ministry of Information Technologies and Communications in Colombia, that we know as MINTIC, and the government of Canada have sponsored in the past some projects to help companies to showcase the quality of their job. I will show you one of those cases that was a sponsor campaign in the year 2017 and 2018. The third one is the sales representative or business facilitator. This is split in two. The sales representative is different to the business facilitator, and we will see the difference between them. And finally, and the most known of all of them, and I think that most of you are using right now, is the e-commerce and the online exposure. So here we will show what are the tactics that you are using for trying to show your product or services to the clients. So let's get in more detail to the first one, to the assist to commercial events. And this one is AndyCon 2021. This event was showcased in the Trade Commissioner Service of Canada page. So if any Canadian company wants to check what events are held in Colombia where they can go and check companies, this is the page they can go. This is the page that the government provides, and there are plenty of links in this presentation. We will send the presentation to you, and you can get and check all the links for that. This is an event that is going to be held in Cartagena. It will be on September 8th, 2021, and there will be multiple Canadian companies and companies from around the world trying to make networking. So one of the descriptions that they provide in the website is that your organization should participate in this event because you will increase the visibility of your product or service. And also you will meet commercial entities, industrial players, potential buyers or investors. So as you see, there have been events that have been held in the past and this one on the future. So it's important for you to have this in mind. There was another event that was on Medellin on 2020. It was on February. And this was as well from directly with Canadian companies. Companies like Air Canada were there, and they were trying to get access and checking the Colombian market. So if you are interested, as I mentioned, you will find links about these events in the presentation, and you will find all the information over there. I also want to bring some different events here because I know, and based on the results of the poll, that we have people in the video game industry. So there are plenty of events here to showcase indie games. For example, in 2019, we had the Montreal International Games Summit, where a lot of companies could come here and show the video game that they were developing and make networking. So this helps in two ways. You can make a networking, and you can also get feedback from possible customers or clients of your video game or final product. We had another one at the end of 2020. The name was EGLX. It was in Toronto and it was totally virtual. Plenty of international companies participated in that one. So if you want to participate in some events like this, you can also check on the internet. There are plenty of them. There is another one that is the DreamHack. The DreamHack is often each year, and there are some contests of video games, but there are plenty of indie companies that also showcase their video games in there. We have another event that is this is for a different business activity. This is for audiovisual and animation, and it's the Toronto Independent Animation Festival 2021. So if you want to participate in that one, you can go to the website. The link is the same, is on the notes of the presentation.
Victor, are you advancing the?
No,
okay.
because this is the commercial events. I'm just describing that.
Okay, good.
Yeah. So yeah, what I mentioned, all the links are in the notes of the presentation. So let's continue, and we go to the government sponsor campaign. So in here, this is the one that I wanted to showcase, and this is related with audiovisual content. So you will see two paragraphs in Spanish that were taken directly from the Mintic page, where they say that they were helping companies to make an audiovisual project, and they were providing a total of 240,000 Canadian dollars. And for each participant, they will provide an amount of 6,000 Canadian dollars. So as you can see, the government is helping and is trying to provide this kind of sponsor campaigns. You will have to be aware of them. And the best way is to be checking the Mintic page, also the pages from the Canadian government, not the Canadian government, sorry, the Canadian Embassy in Colombia. There are a lot of information in that website as well. And you will find the same thing, multiple key links on the presentation that will help you to find this information. For the next one, that is the sales representative or business facilitator, we will begin with the sales representative. So who is the sales representative and how he can help your company? So he will be one employee that you will have. So he or she will be one of your own. It will be a person that will know your product or your service, that will know your company, will know your times, will know the quality of your product, and can sell more easily than anyone else to a possible client your product. So what are the benefits of having one sales representative? So it's first that he will have a feeling of belonging. So he will feel that the company belongs to him and he will help something that it's his or hers. And that's pretty important. And also here, there is a benefit that is it's about the FTA, the free trade agreement, and the temporary entry for business persons. So with the free trade agreement, there is something that helps people that is coming to Canada from Colombia to make business, and is that you will not have that much restrictions as maybe we had in the past to access in the country for making business. This doesn't mean that you won't need a visa or anything like that. You will have to accomplish or to have all the requirements that the government require. But for the business part, it will be easier for you to come and participate on events or try to come here and showcase your products without having to ask for a working visa. So that is one of the benefits of having a sales representative. And the second one is the business facilitator. So in here, we want to showcase ProColombia work. As you know, ProColombia is a Colombian entity that promotes the exports in the country. And it helps companies as you in this travel to export your service or product to another countries. So use ProColombia, try to contact your agent. If you have any question, go with them and try to use that service because that will help you a lot. They have been helping a lot of companies in the past, and they will be able to help you as well. I listen somebody with the mic open. Do you have any question? Okay, thank you. So yeah, that's about ProColombia. So I don't know if Luis Felipe wants to add something here, but feel free, Luis, or if not, I just wanted to let you guys know that ProColombia is there for you to help you.
Maria Teresa is on the line, so maybe Maria Teresa.
Yes, Luis Felipe is not here today, but good afternoon, everyone. I just wanted to add that right now we are finalizing the agenda that we are going to have this year. So after we finalize it and define on what events we are going to participate this year, your representative at ProColombia will share like all the events we are going to participate in with you guys. And also we have the Macro Rueda, which is taking place in April. So if any of you guys want to, sorry, I had some problems here. If any of you guys want to participate in that event, I will share the link here with you so you can start all the inscription and all of that.
Right, Maria Teresa, thank you. So yeah.
I'm sorry, I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, let's say our company decide to send somebody with this kind of program, ProColombia. Do we can have some assistance from you or your companies? I mean, direction in Canada. Let's say, give us some information about where we can go, what kind of business we can do, or stuff like that.
But okay, sorry. Directly ProColombia will help you to organize your exporting strategy. But the one you mentioned to help here, it's like what kind of help do you mean? Like providing in the country?
Well, I mean, it's assistance like directions or some companies. Then we can go, because if we go there, yeah, we're gonna be blind. Yeah, we don't maybe we don't know where we can go, where we can do, or how we can do it. So in this case, we can have some assistance, like say, okay, you can take this way or that way, or in this city, or even some companies, then we can go and knock the doors. Well, I know that part we have to do it by ourselves.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's some kind of information assistance or directions or stuff like that.
Yeah, we can definitely talk about like some partnerships offline, but of course we are open to provide some business development support if needed. Maria Teresa?
Yeah, I was gonna add to that in ProColombia we have a team that can help you guys do some research in the market depending on the necessities you have. So let's say you want to go to Canada and you have like some businesses you wanna contact. We can do that through the office in Canada. We also have an area here that can help you do all the research.
Yeah, and I also wanted to add, sorry, that at the end of the sessions, we will have as well a one-on-one session, and we will provide you with some tools, and depending of how the session goes, we can check the future and needs that you may have.
We have the hand raised by Pedro. Pedro?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hi, everyone.
Hi.
I have a curious question here. It's I have been in contact with ProColombia from over 4 or 5 years, and we have been trying to develop some of the strategies and these exercises that you guys mentioned, and trying to get some help from ProColombia in terms of the market research, things like that. But when we are coming to the specific help to develop the business, to find potential partners, for example, where it's really hard for a Colombian company, let's say, to break the ice of these companies because you don't have the direct access. What I have been in the position where we have been with ProColombia is that it's your responsibility. Previously in other countries, because we have been exploring other markets different to Canada, what we have found sometimes is that ProColombia have some business development companies so that they are really, really familiar with their specific markets. I don't know if that usually is available in British Columbia or maybe in Ontario or even in Quebec or something like that. But it's people that is really good with networking. So if you have defined your market research, if you know what is your target market, if you have a custom, let's say, service portfolio for that Canadian province, and you did your homework, okay? But you really need that push to connect the right people in those places. So what I'm wondering is something like that available in this moment in ProColombia? Maybe it's not part of this program. You guys can validate that one for me. But what I want to be sure here is if we are moving to that direction, because we have been asking that to ProColombia many times in the past, it's good to organize events. It's good that you suggest that we are going to develop all the strategies or something. But in the last mile, in the last kilometer in the Canadian world, we are missing that, let's say, part of the change is how we can break the ice. So we have everything that we need here, but we need to have that contact. And we know that there are companies that they are dedicated to have that link or to create that link. So want to be sure, maybe, what do you guys have in mind, or what is your experience? What is your suggestion about it? Sorry if it is a long question.
No, I think that Maria Teresa can answer that one.
Yeah, Pedro, who is your advisor at ProColombia? Paula, right? Paula Camacho.
Yes.
Yes, so we definitely can help you guys approach the companies in any market if you have already done the research. So let's say you have the companies you want to contact, you have their information and who in the company you want to contact, we can help you through the ProColombia offices around the world to do that approach. So if you want me, I can talk to
No, but
Paula.
that's not what I'm talking about. So let me
That's
be
what I
precise.
understood. So if I
Yeah, it's because there is
misunderstood,
something
please
missing in the
repeat
middle.
the question.
Yeah, there is something missing in the middle. Because, for example, you will go to a market research. Maybe you find that you have 5 big companies that might be potential buyers of your services or something like that, and maybe you have everything that they need for them. But usually what happens in those cases is that you are not familiar with the specific person. You are not familiar if that company is really interested. So you don't have the specific connection, or you don't have the specific communication channel with that company. And most of the information that is available in this database, in the market research or something, they are available for 100 companies. So Indian companies, they are sending a lot of emails to these Canadian companies as well. Most of the people that is in these directories, they are absolutely crazy busy, so they are not open for those kind of things. So that's what I mentioned to you, is that our experience previously is that if you try to go that, even if you try to use ProColombia resources for that, maybe it's not the best strategy. What we have found previously is that there are specific companies in those provinces, like dedicated to networking, so that they can facilitate that they can help with the validation. They know what is really the person that might be interested to you or things like that. So that's what I mentioned to you. If you guys are moving to that direction, because just with the ProColombia resources, I know that that one didn't work in the past. We have tried that one twice in the past, and not just in Canada, but in other places as well. And the game changer, let's say in this case, is when you are using experts that they really know the local people, and they know sometimes that maybe you need to change your strategy because in that company it's a kind of a different communication, things like that. So again, sorry if I am trying to elaborate this one a bit more, but I guess is that it's really important because this kind of generic strategy needs to be a bit more, I don't know, more complete for our companies. So I guess that is part of our experience that I'm sharing, and maybe even we can improve some of that for the remaining companies in this program.
Yeah, and as I mentioned in the chat, Pedro, maybe we can discuss this offline. Like business development, as I mentioned before, is not part of the program right now. Is not like the main objectives of Power Labs right now. As I mentioned before, this is the step one. This is like for you to know the strategy and the tools that you have available, and also like the programs available to you to export products or services to Canada. Some of you already do it in other to other countries, but the idea is this is more for like you to prepare the step one. Now, we as a company, you know, Power Labs is a consulting company, and we can take this offline to explore how can we support the business development, but outside of the program. And I guess Maria Teresa, the action for you, so we can continue with the presentation, would be like how ProColombia can support business development in Canada, not only from the strategic point of view, but more into the networking and trying to connect these companies to partners in here. So, and maybe let's explore this, Pedro, during the one-on-one consulting with us at the end of the program.
Absolutely. Thank you for the clarification. Yeah, and that's part of the thing that I'm looking for, is just to define the scope and what are the players, let's say, in this case, and what is the precise moment that we can help. Thank you for that.
All right, thank you. So Victor, you can continue.
Yeah, great. Thank you for your questions. So let's continue. This was the third option for the sales strategy. Now we are continue with the last one of them. And this one is about the e-commerce and online exposure. So here, I think that everyone is related with this. If not, well, I think that it's one of the best options to showcase your product. And first of all, I want to bring the funnel term. So as it says in the slide, a funnel can be described as the steps that a customer goes through from being a prospect to a buyer. So what kind of events have to take place before a customer buys your service or your product? In here, I wanted to show different options that we use in the market. Here is like the email marketing tools, selling tools, lead generation tools like Salesforce, advertising tools like you can get advertising in social media and Google Ads, everything like showcases your product or service. And that's something that I wanted to mention as well. And maybe it's something that you can reflect on, and is how many of you are creating content in your social media, maybe not Instagram or Facebook, but maybe LinkedIn, that is in English? How many of you are creating content that is trying to target the Canadian customer and trying to bring this kind of population to your business? So this is something that you need to have in mind. If you are not doing, is something that is pretty important, and that are simple steps that you can follow, and this can increase a lot on trying to find Canadian clients. And the last option that we mentioned in here is the e-commerce and website. So this is something that we will touch or we will talk more in the next modules. But how many of you have the bilingual website? If you are trying to access Quebec, how many of you have your website on French? Also, the thing that I mentioned at the beginning, is your website like secure? Do you have a SSL certificate? A person that goes to your website can be secure that it's the website of your company and that it's done in the proper and secure way. So these kind of things are things that maybe are obvious, but maybe some of you are not doing right now. And you can begin with these small steps, and this will bring a lot of good value for the next steps that you will need to follow. Okay, this was about the sales strategy, and now we will go to the delivery strategy. And there are some important aspects to have in mind at the moment of providing support to a customer here in Canada. And you will need to have in mind the following aspects. And it's, for example, the timing. Your client may or may not be in the same time zone. Canada has different time zones, and maybe you are not aware of that. Maybe you will need to check, okay, if I have a project with a Canadian client, what is his location? What is the time on this location? If you are providing support, you have to work with what calendar, what type of holidays. I'm going to work with Canadian holidays right now. I will support the project or the service in Canadian calendar, or I will do it in Colombian calendar. So it's something that is important for you to have in mind. And that, for example, in my personal experience, I've been working in support plenty of times, and I work for the States, and the United States, I have to work with their calendar and with their time. So it's important to have that in mind, and that it's something that you may have not included or in your service proposal. The other thing is what are the times of response that you have for an inquiry or a return? And I'm bringing here as well in the image the charter of the French language. If you are accessing the Quebecois market, it's pretty important to have somebody that brings that support on French. Plenty of people speak English in Quebec. Also, multiple technology IT businesses that have different branches around the world handle all the business in English, but for Quebecois people, it's pretty important, the language. So if you are going to have a client that it's based here in Quebec, they will love and they will appreciate a lot if you try to speak. You don't have to be fluent, but if they look and they see that you are trying, they appreciate that in a great way, and you can have a door open just for that. I will set a link about this charter of the French language in the notes for the presentation, so you can go there and you can check about this law that it's pretty important for them. Okay, so this is about the delivery strategy. This was shortened than the others. Yep.
We have a question from Ana Maria.
Yeah.
Yes, hi. My
Hello.
question was, hi, how are you? So I had a session with a consultant, or a Canadian consultant, and about the website, and that person told us not to have it developed the website before having clear your strategy in Canada. So I understand that you gotta have something anyway. So what would be your opinion regarding that matter? Because you gotta have something, but at the same time, you don't want to waste your money by developing a website you're gonna have to change later.
Yeah. So yeah, Great question. So my advice will be, first, do all your content in English. So the official language of Canada is English, and as I mentioned, here in Quebec, a lot of people speaks English as well, and mostly all the tech businesses are handled in English. And it's pretty important first for your website that it's a secure website, so you will have an SSL certificate. So when everyone opens in the browser, it will show the lock on the URL, and that it will bring confidence for the person that is trying to access your website. Also, try to showcase your service as well as you can, and try to showcase the quality of your product in your website. So it doesn't have to be like a spectacular design, but if it's something clear and it's something that it's calls to be on your website, that will help you to be more attractive for your clients. And as well, try to use everything that we have mentioned on the previous modules about Canadian culture. So try to, for example, if you know that Canadian people is very punctual, try to sell your service as a service that you always accomplish on time, and try to be that one of your main perks of product. So try to use that kind of things. So when a Canadian client goes and say, hey, these people say that they deliver the projects on time, it's something that is pretty important, and you will have an advantage. You know, maybe some people goes with pricing. So they say, no, we are going to provide the better price, but they are going to take longer, and it's not going to be as good as yours. So you can go on that way. Yeah. That will be my advising on the website. And as well, try to have clear your terms and conditions in case that you are providing a service that they are going to hire from you. So if you have terms and conditions, these need to be pretty clear for them. If you have a privacy policy about data and everything, and we will talk about that in a moment for the FTA, the Free Trade Agreement. You will see that it's not necessary for you to come here to Canada to sell anything, and that Canada and Colombia will respect these kind of projects of the websites. It doesn't matter if you are not here. So
but on another hand, I want to like complement what Victor just said. Is in addition to obviously have a secure website and showcasing like the basics of your product and knowing your buyer persona, is the basics of your strategy, and that is something that they were spot on the advice, is to have the basics of your strategy laid out, right? Like, for example, if you land a project, you have your operations up and running as Victor is describing. Like if, for example, you have a business that is being developed in Quebec, that you have the languages and the requirements on the Charter of Languages specific for that particular province. That you have, as Victor is saying, that you have a support model for your customers, right? Like, do you have people that is working in a time zone that supports British Columbia? Do you have people that supports email communications in the local language, right? So you have to have some basic operations up and running before offering your services through a website. So that would be also my advice, that is not just only about the product, it's also having just the basic, even if you're still working on developing your full strategy, try to kind of like, you're a technology company, try to wave it out, right? Like wave one, or minimum valuable to go to Canada is with this operation, with this type of security, and this is like the people who's gonna work for the Canadian clients, and have that as part of of your, let's say, delivery strategy.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you. So let's begin with the FTA. So here is the Chapter 9 of the FTA. Well, the free trade agreement, the status, it's in force and it was signed, it began to be enforced on 2011 on August the 15th. So in here, what I did was I'm copying and pasting some of the paragraphs that I think that are most relevant in this case. And the idea of this is to show you that in the agreement, what they agree is that for the services that are between Canada and Colombia, you will be treated with the same conditions that are regular provided from Canada. So you will have the same option, and the Canadian provider is not going to have any advantage from you. If you, for example, have the same capacities of communication based on language. So if you can communicate on English and you have a good product, you will be on the same condition than any other of the Canadian companies. Also, in the treatment, they say that it's not necessary to open a branch or having a representative of your company in the Canadian territory for being able to execute a project. So this is pretty important because you can do it directly in Colombia. All the accounting will be handled and you won't have any kind of troubles. And the final one, it's another that is pretty important. It says that your client will recognize and accept the education and experience obtained in your country. So for example, if you need any kind of certification or license, and you got it directly on Colombia, and that license is validated here in Canada, you won't have to make any validation. So they will recognize your studies and your experience as if it was here. So that is pretty important. Chapter 9 is longer. I will recommend you and encourage you to go and check the document. You will find the whole the trade agreement document in the links. And as well, I just put each chapter. For example, you will find a link that will bring only the services chapter in case that you don't want to read all the other content of the document. The next one, it's the chapter 12. So if you meet the regular requirements for getting a regular visa, you can travel to Canada for business without needing like the work permit or a business visa. And this will be, as I mentioned before, this will be very helpful in the way that you can assist to events, or you can come here and showcase your product or your service, but your stay must not be longer than 6 months. And this is pretty important. So if you have that in mind, and also you have all the regular requirements for traveling, you can benefit from this. And also the FTA benefits employees that want to bring somebody to work here. So there is something that is called the IA, sorry, that it's the labor market impact assessment. So that is something that is required when a company from Canada wants to hire a person from abroad. And this labor market impact assessment says that as a company, you need to show that there is nobody in Canada that can make that job, and that you need directly that person from the other country that you are trying to bring. With the free trade agreement, this labor market impact assessment, it's much easier to get and is not that complicated. And it will be, if you have somebody in Colombia that has a role in your company and you want to bring him or her here, you won't need to go and check and try to show that there is no Canadian that can make the job. So that is very helpful as well. You will get more information of this chapter in the whole document, and you will get all the information in the notes from the presentation. And finally, there is the chapter 15 that talks about electronic commerce. So in here, I'm bringing 3 paragraphs that I think that are pretty important, and is that both parties recognize the importance of the interoperability, innovation, and competition for facilitating electronic commerce in both countries. They are trying to recognize the importance of these platforms, and they are trying to facilitate the use of this electronic commerce by micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises. And the final one that as well is pretty important is that neither party may apply custom duties, fees, or charges in relation with exportation of products by electronic means. So that will be everything related to IT, like software, and everything related to products that doesn't have to be goods. That is one thing that will help a lot. And there is another paragraph that is not included there that says that the parties recognize the importance of sharing information. And this is pretty important because both countries are sharing the regulations, the laws, and all the programs that are related to electronic commerce. And this includes the data privacy, the consumer confidence, and the security. So that's why I was mentioning that you will need to have that clear on your website, and that needs to be clear for a Canadian customer. So what are your terms and conditions? How are you handling the data privacy of your clients? And these need to be visible for them because it will have the same validity that we'll have for a Canadian provider. So these are some of the aspects that the FTA bring to the table for Colombian companies. There are plenty of companies that have been getting benefits from the trade, but if you haven't check that, or if you don't know how this can apply to you, go and check the agreement based on your service. Check if the service that you are providing, how can you benefit from that, and maybe with the lawyer you can get more detailed information about how to benefit in full detail with the FTA between the two countries. So this is chapter 15, and now we will go with the business incorporation in Canada. So how you can get incorporated here in the country? There are 2 ways. You can go through the federal way, or you can go through the provincial way. They have some difference, but the principal 2 are the protection of the name, and the other one is the ability to conduct business in all provinces. We have a third one that is about the cost of initiating and renew the incorporation, but this can vary in different provinces, so this is not that much as like a perk that one or the other can have. So let's begin with the provincial. And in here, we talk about the benefits of getting a provincial incorporation. So for some provinces, it's less expensive. So I will put my example. I'm here in Quebec, and I'm incorporated in Quebec. So if I wanted to go by federal incorporation, I will have to pay more for getting into the system. But if I wanted to operate here in Quebec, I will also need to pay and register my business in Quebec. So that I will bring that up in the next slides. But if I'm going to be here in Quebec and I am going to operate here, my address is here, I can incorporate as provincial, and everything is going to work fine for me. I can sell to different provinces, I can sell to different countries, and and it's pretty easy to make the process. That is the second benefit, that it's a faster incorporation provinces. I'm highlighting that it's for some one of them because there are some provinces that are handling like a manual process, believe it or not, and maybe it could take more time than the federal one. As I mentioned before, you can do business in Canada and international, and it has reduced requirements in terms of share issuance and director place of residence. So we will see more in detail that in the federal incorporation. But what it means is if you have some person that is going to be a director of the company, there is no need to be a resident of Canada. You can be from another country without having a resident or a citizenship, and you can be on the director's table. So give me just 1 second. I'm getting, okay, sorry about that. And here I wanted to bring the last time something that you have to be aware if you are trying to get to Canada, and most in detail if you want to get into Quebec. And this is something that you may not believe, but it's true. And I'm bringing this example. So Quebec with the language is very strict. It doesn't matter if you are a small company or a big company as KFC, you will have to change your name if your name can be translated to French. So for example, here in Quebec, Kentucky Fried Chicken is not named like that, it's named Poulet Frit Kentucky. So the change in the name is mandatory, it doesn't matter for the company, the size or what kind. If there is any word that it can be translated in your name, you will need to do it. This is most if you are going to have presence like in an office or the documents, the papers, your documents and your printings, you will have to get this in case that you are getting into the Quebec system.
That's right. All your collateral should be translated.
Exactly. So this is the federal incorporation, and here I want to explain something that I was pending on the provincial one. And the main difference is the naming protection. So let's say that we are Pablo Labs and we are incorporated in Quebec. So if somebody wants to open a Pablo Labs in Ontario, they can do it. They are able to do it because we are only incorporated in Quebec. But if I incorporate in the federal incorporation, they will protect my name. So if I incorporate in the federal, Pablo Labs is not able to be in use for anybody else but me or by us. So that is the principal difference. And also that it allows corporations to establish their head office anywhere in Canada. But they have the issue that I was telling you before. If you incorporate as federal and you want to do business, for example, in Quebec, you will have to register your business in Quebec. So corporates more register the business in the province where it will operate. What that means, for example, in Quebec, if they want to operate here, they will need to pay $343 plus than the registration they did on the past. And here, the final one is based on the directors that I was mentioning before. If you want to operate and get incorporated as federal, you will need that your 20% of the directors table have residence or citizenship from Canada. So that is something that you will need to have in mind. So the time is getting shorter. I will try to show you this. This is something that I wanted to bring and show to you. And these are some of the measures that the government of Canada took about COVID-19. there are two different plans. The CEBA, that is the help that the government did for Canadian companies. So they, at the beginning, it began with a loan with no interest for $40,000. And if you paid that in 2 years, so if you paid that by December 31st, 2022, they will forget the 33% of the loan. So that will be pretty good. It's money that you are getting with no interest, and if the companies pay on time, they will be it will be a forgiveness of the 33% of that amount. As COVID extended this change, and this amount of $40,000 increased to 60,000. So the forgiveness at the end could be almost of $20,000, and you will get a lot of help from that and trying to keep your business afloat. There is another one that is the CEWS, that is the Canada Emergency Wage Subsidy, and that was helping the owners of the companies to pay the wage of the company, and it depends on the amount of income that was reduced on the company. So if the company lost the 50% of the income, they will help you with some percentage of the total employees payment, and it was up to the 75%. It has some scales and it has some limits, and it was for per week. So for example, it was I think that the highest one was $847 per week. So as you can see there, here in Canada, the government protects their business, and in this case, this has been pretty helpful for all the different companies around Canada. Almost 900,000 of companies have been benefit from this. Okay, the next one is the taxes, how taxes operate here inside Canada. So we have the GST. The GST is a 5% federal tax that you must pay. And these changes are depending the province. So we have something that is called the Harmonized Sales Tax, and that is the combination of the federal GST that we mentioned in the first paragraph and the provincial tax. So as you can see on the table, we have some provinces that have the GST. Not all of them have the GST like separated. You can see that there are some of them like Ontario, New Brunswick, Nova Scotia that has the GST included in the harmonized sales tax. And there is some provinces that are not included in this, that are like Saskatchewan, Manitoba, or Quebec, that they have the GST that is the federal tax, but they have their own provincial tax. We have the PST in the case of British Columbia, the RST, the retail sales tax, and the Quebec sales tax. This needs to be paid for companies, or if you have a company that is incorporated and your business are getting more than $30,000 by year, it is necessary for you to subscribe to these taxes and for you to pay this. The next one here is how to charge between provinces, and this is just a quick example. Here we have an example of a firm that is developing something in Quebec, and it will charge somebody in Ontario, but you will need the tax is based on the supplies of the service. So as the supplies of the service was made on Ontario, we will apply the HST of 13%. So it doesn't matter if the company is in Quebec, the company in Quebec will charge the 13% of sales tax to the company in Ontario. You will get more examples in the comments of the presentation. I will continue with the last one just because the time is almost over. So here, this is how to charge GST with foreign clients. So This is pretty good because you have to charge them, but you are going to charge them with 0 rated GST. That will mean that you are getting and you are putting tax credits on your final taxes declaration, but you are not charging anything to the client. So if you are selling a service directly from Canada to another country, the charge of this GST is just rate of 0. You will find links about how to charge in the other provinces and how to charge from different projects, maybe that don't have any kind of address. For example, if you are paying on PayPal, you will find all those examples on the comments of the presentation. So thank you. This is the end of the presentation. Next module will be running operations by Juan. That will be next week, but on Thursday we will continue with the second part of the module 3.